From Middlesex by Eugenides. Smyrna endured today in a few Rebettica songs and stanza from the wasteland. Mr. Eugenides, the Smyrna merchant, unshaven, with a pocket full of currants, CIF London, documents at sight, asked me in demotic French to luncheon at the Cannon Street Hotel, followed by a weekend at the Metropole. So this is a story of immigration, a story of refugees. By September 7th, 1922, every Greek in Smyrna, including Lefty Stefanidis, who is one of the characters in the story, is wearing a fez in order to pass as a Turk. The last Greek soldiers are being evacuated at Chesme. The Turkish army is only 30 miles away, and no ships arrive from Athens to evacuate the refugees. So somehow they make their way to the boats, and they really don't have a lot of choices. And now he's coming. Name: Eleutheris Stefanidis. Place of birth: Paris. The official looked up. Passport: everything was destroyed in the fire. I lost all my papers. Lefty puckered his lips and expelled air, as he'd seen Frenchmen do. Look at what I'm wearing. I lost all my good suits. The official smiled wearily and stamped the papers. Pass. I have a wife with me. I suppose she was born in Paris too. Of course, her name Desdemona. Desdemona Stefanidis. That's right, same as mine. So they somehow managed to get on the boat. And there's also something that stands out that I wanted to quote is this dialogue between the officers. So the British are playing music. Looks like the Victoria Station on Christmas Eve, sir. Cynical British humor. Look at those poor wretches, left to fend for themselves. When the word gets out about the Greek commissioners leaving, it's going to be pandemonium. We'll be evacuating refugees, sir. Our orders are to protect British property and citizens. But surely, sir, if the Turks arrive and there's a massacre, there's nothing we can do about it, Phillips. I've spent years in the Near East. The one lesson I've learned is that there is nothing you can do with these people. Nothing at all. The Turks are the best of the lot. The Armenian I liken to the Jew, deficient moral and intellectual character. As for the Greeks, well, look at them. They've burned down the whole country, and now they swarm in here crying for help. Nice cigar, what? Awfully good, sir. Smyrna tobacco, finest in the world. Brings a tear to my eye, Phillips, the thought of all that tobacco lying in those warehouses out there. Perhaps we can send a detail to save the tobacco, sir. Do I detect a note of sarcasm, Phillips? Faintly, sir, faintly. Good Lord, Phillips, I'm not heartless. I wish we could help these people, but we can't. It's not our war. Are we certain of that, sir? What do you mean? We might have supported the Greek forces, seeing as we sent them in. They were dying to be sent in. Venizelos and his bunch. I don't think you fathom the complexity of the situation. We have interests here in Turkey. We must proceed in the utmost care. We cannot let ourselves get caught up in these Byzantine struggles. I see, sir. More cognac, sir? Yes, thank you. It's a beautiful city, though, isn't it? Quite. You are aware of what Strabo said of Smyrna. Are you not? He called Smyrna the finest city in Asia. That was back in the time of Augustus. It lasted that long. Take a good look, Phillips. Take a good long look. By September 7th, 1922, every Greek in Smyrna, including Lefty Stefanidis, is wearing a fez in order to pass as a Turk. The last Greek soldiers are being evacuated at Chesme. The Turkish army is only 30 miles away, and no ships arrive from Athens to evacuate the refugees. Lefty, newly moneyed and befezed, makes his way through the maroon-capped crowd at the quay. He crosses tram tracks and heads uphill. He finds the steamship office. Inside, a clerk is bending over passenger lists. Lefty takes out his winnings and says, 2 seats to Athens. The head remains down. Deck or cabin? Deck. 1,500 drachmas. No, not cabin, Lefty says. Deck will be fine. That is deck. 1,500? I don't have 1,500. It was 500 yesterday. That was yesterday. So, this is just the beginning of this novel. There are more quotes as we go on. And we talk about industrial US. Everyone who builds a factory builds a temple, Calvin Coolidge. Henry Ford's English language melting pot. About Detroit, a very, very detailed description of how Detroit began. So I'm saving you the descriptions, but it's a city that the writer knows. He grew up in it. He grew up in Detroit, and how it started out as like this big American dream of industry and providing workers with workplaces so they can realize their dreams, have a house, provide for their family, and what came out of that dream, how it became one of the crime capitals of the US. So right now, I'm going to end this. I definitely recommend this novel, but realize that when you go on this trip with this writer, you will be disconnected from everything around you, for good and for bad. Peace, light, and love.